Ain't going back, not gonna buy into all that. Hey, hey, ain't gonna hide, gonna let all the fears slide. Got Mother Nature is on my side, got all of the loving.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm here with Matt Landman. He is the lead creator of Franken Skies, actual activist, and working as the CEO of Spiro Clothing. So we're going to take it from the beginning, 1, 2, and 3. So Matt, maybe tell us a little bit about how you started, actual activist. I think that was your first role into this crazy world, and you developed into Franken Skies, or you developed into exposing, the chemtrails through Franken Skies. And then from there, looking for some solutions, you went to Spiro Clothing, but let's take it one step at a time. And hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hi, Lorenzo. Thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I'd love to tell everyone a little bit about me. I'm an activist, and I'm like through and through. I'm now an activist, and I am able to make a living doing it now. So anyone who doesn't think it can be done, it can be done. And it's really an inspiring place because number one, I work for myself, and two, I represent the truth. I'm not like the income that I have is not, dirty, gross, money from selling, whatever, used cars or whatever it may be. And no offense to anybody that has to work for the man, but strive to be able to represent truth and work for your passion, and you can do it. So I never was that guy. I've worked like 45 jobs. I grew up in Virginia on the East Coast of the United States, and slowly but surely I found myself in California, going back to school, getting a master's in business and majoring in film. And when I got out of school, I worked on a farm finally after all these other jobs. And on this organic potato farm, I got really grounded and learned that I knew nothing. I was like 32 years old. It was 2012. And the first day on the farm, even graduated top of my class with an MBA, master's in business. And the first day on the farm, I learned that potatoes grew potatoes. I didn't even know that. I did not know anything. I was not a grounded person. I wasn't in touch with nature. And on the farm, quick and dirty, really, I woke up, realized, and learned about weather engineering because of the drought and watching the skies and seeing a storm getting quelled. We were supposed to get this really big storm, and all these planes showed up and grid the sky, spraying aluminum, come to find out, it seems, to dissipate the storm. We didn't get any rain out of that. And this was in the midst of a big catastrophic drought in California. And I slowly started learning about it. And what I learned when I did come to the understanding that there was something going on in our skies, what I came to find out was that no one knew anything about it. Nobody, none of my peers, nobody in any of my circles. And if they had ever heard of the word chemtrails, then they knew it as a dirty word, that conspiracy, crazy tinfoil hat, that it wasn't a truth thing. And I'm like doing the research and finding my way. And I thought I was like a pretty grounded, like, either way, I would have made fun of conspiracy theorists too in the past. But once I got down to the information and found it, it's a whole life-changing experience. And then it took me a few years to really even get any traction as an activist. I found myself, I think it was like divine planning and all this stuff, a lot of obstacles, but I found myself in Vancouver, Canada, believe it or not, Lorenzo, where I know you love and know about. Or you loved. I'm sure it's changing a lot. Canada's everywhere's changing so much. Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Like I used to really want to live in New York, but
really?
Not happening now.
Yeah. I used to really want to live in Vancouver all the time, but and now I see the way the world is, but everything's crazy everywhere. Like what do you mean by traction? It took you a while to get traction as an activist. What does that mean for you?
I wasn't getting any love. So what I was doing is like passing out flyers and trying to do things. And I wasn't even making any friends. Like I would pass out, like I would go to Commercial Drive, for instance, and these double buses would open up, and I'd pass out all these flyers to anybody and everyone.
When was this?
And as this was 2015, and then when everybody left, all of those flyers were like in the trash can, But I wasn't really being, I wasn't recognizing my gut instincts and my discernment. I was giving the flyers to every single person, and what happened was I met some 9/11 truthers in Vancouver, and with a little bit of just, hope and inspiration, and seeing that this group of 9/11 truthers had been going on for, 14 years. Wow. And I hadn't really met anybody like that ever before, that had a group like that was going on at all. Like if anybody that I knew started a group, it would fall apart. not 14 years of 9/11 truth, you know, in Vancouver. So I thought this was really cool. And by seeing that and them giving me a little inspiration and whatnot, I got it in my heart and soul that I was going to make this movie, Franken Skies. And that was my big foot in the door in the activism space, the chemtrail community, everything. And that was a story. Like, I really wanted to come out with the movie in 2016, and it was divine intervention that, like, nothing I could do was working out. But lo and behold, come the end of 2016, the mainstream media was going to come out with geoengineering as a solution to climate change and global warming. And before that, chemtrails and geoengineering was a conspiracy, you know, yucky word that nobody said. But then all of a sudden, science and mainstream is saying, hey, we've got a solution for you. So it seemed like it was going to be this amazing opportunity for the conspiracy theorists to have their time to shine, and everyone would like pat them on the back and say, hey, guess what, you were right. But still, they were able to frame it and smash the conspiracy theorists and say, no, this is new technology. We're going to spray aluminum for good, and never were we before. And it's going to save you from, and not create a greenhouse effect, but reverse the greenhouse effect. And it's all insanity. So I was able to include some of that in my movie, this release of new clouds and all these new cloud names and all these very blatant lies. And that was able to like really give this push for Franken Skies to come out in June 2017 to include all that. And so now, while I'm working on Franken Skies 2, climate chains, like shackles, all these little obstacles are getting in my way. But then all of a sudden 15-minute cities are becoming a word. And I know I'm going to protest that, and that's going to be in the film. And I'm just plugging along. And I know that when it's divine timing, that this movie will come out as well in a couple of years. But traction was really when I was able to come out with that film. And then I went on all these shows and got a lot more attention and a lot more followership on social media. And people were really willing to listen because I had kind of proven myself. Really, you got to kind of prove yourself in the world before people will really give you any attention anyway. So that's really what happened.
It's interesting. You and I might have actually crossed paths at that 9/11 show, because I know I was at a few of them myself, you know, downtown in Vancouver. And I know we worked with you a little bit on your first Frankenskies when you came to Vancouver and you did a presentation. No, I wasn't there, but our editor, Fred Lupe, you met. He was there with you at the show. And
so what happened is I hosted the first global chemtrail summit at Simon Fraser University, downtown Vancouver.
Right.
And I did not expect to pack the house, but you, as the amazing, loving activist heart and soul, and I've really learned to appreciate you. Your magazine gave me the front page. It was on the front page. It was on the front page.
No, it was 100% on the front page.
Yeah, and it was a David Dees art.
Yeah,
rest in peace, David Dees. And then it was maybe on the back page. You really gave it a lot of attention in this one publication of the new Agora, this certain like a month ahead of time or something. And people came from Victoria. So many people were coming in the door off the ferry from Victoria, and we packed the house. It was so amazing. And that alone also gave me traction and inspiration to keep on going, because you don't want to host a conference and have no one show up and it blows up in your face. What are you going to do? Do it again? You know? So I did it again in Portland the next year. And then I did it again in Tucson, Arizona the next year to stop Bill Gates from having this experiment to dim the sun. He was going to dim the sun over Tucson, Arizona. And we had, on Mother's Day for Mother Earth, we had a protest, we had a concert, we had a conference, packed the house again at Arizona State University, or was it the University of Arizona rather, who has a large geoengineering department. So we kind of went to the heart of the beast to have this conference, but the whole city found out that Bill Gates wanted to do this experiment to dim the sun, and everyone was upset and in arms about it. And the experiment got put on hiatus, and now it's moved to Sweden, and now they're not really going to do it supposedly. But there was this normalization campaign to spray the skies and say, hey, look, we've got the solution for you. We're going to do more of this. Not that they don't do it all the time, but that was a small, big victory for us in the activism community.
Yeah, I mean, I've been delighted. All I knew is what you were doing needed to get out. You know, at the time, I was very happy that someone was sharing what they were sharing. I'd gone through my own arguments at so many of the house shows with people. Oh, it's happening, it's not happening, it's happening, it's not happening. And I always wondered why. You can look in the sky and see the obvious, garbage being sprayed, that people would deny that, which is perhaps a conversation for another time, in the obvious obfuscation of the truth of what's going on. So I'm delighted that you're succeeding in both your personal and your business world and everything else, because, for me, I love the way you started this conversation. I just have to say before we get back to it is, I've been sharing, and with people as well as with myself, the real possibility that you can do what you love. You can help the world, you can help other people, and you could be successful, and you don't need to sell your soul to the devil, to get a fast car and drive around and then convince yourself you're doing good when the opposite could be true.
For example, and thank you. And yes, you just have to believe and give it your all and show the universe or God or creator or your higher self or whatever, show them that you're worthy. You're not just going to step outside and the golden goose is going to walk up. You have to work for it and be righteous and whatnot. I'm really happy that with my business now, every order I send out a Frankenskies the movie flyer. So I just keep on the activism. And then the proceeds that I do make, I'm able to get the movie out there. So I have a Facebook followership. Please check me out on Facebook, Matt Landman. Censorship galore, yes, but I am able to still get it out there. I've got 69,000 followers. I hit that number yesterday. And today I went on and I said, hey, send me your address. The first 23 people send me their address. I'm going to send them a free Frankenskies DVD. I got a lot of addresses. I sent 35 free Frankenskies DVDs out today. I swear it. I just got back from the mailbox place where I drop off my mail. And these DVDs are now going out. And this movie came out in 2017 and still it's gaining momentum. Still, it really is. Because what's really wild and amazing is after the lockdowns and all that happened and the censorship got rampant, I lost my channel. Frankenskies got taken down off of YouTube. But with my stuff and with other people's stuff, not everyone, but some people's stuff, especially Frankenskies, there was enough momentum going into it that the world was like, no, wait, they're taking this down. We've got to keep it alive. So people will repost it, put it up in different words and whatnot. And it's become even more popular because it got censored, if that even makes sense. And so what's been beautiful with censorship is people have taken the reins and not given up, because we're humans with hearts and souls and we do not give up. Humanity is amazing. And so we've gotten satirical and comedic, and we're doing all these things to bypass the algorithms. And we're being really funny. Like, people are getting really good at their ways of getting the truth out. And Frankenskies is just another one of those things. I went on TikTok because I'm trying to get on every single platform. And I was like, oh, I'm going to put up a little. And I did hashtag Frankenskies. And brother, I started crying. Hashtag Frankenskies had 200,000 already without me ever being on TikTok. Same thing on Instagram. It's got a lot of hashtags. And like, I made the word, like, that's a word created through the creation of my film. I mean, yeah, Franken food, Franken this, but like, yeah, Franken Skies. And the movie, if you haven't seen it, it's available for free, frankenskies.com. And it starts off 1920s. And it's an historical chronological timeline of weather engineering. Like, nobody who's, got the wool of their eyes can sit down and watch the first 30 minutes and not have an aha moment, because the movie goes from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. By the time it gets to the 60s and they're flooding the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Vietnam, anybody who's anybody is like, why don't they tell us that they can make it rain? And that's the biggest takeaway, really. They make these fires or whatever ends up happening with, we have fires, and not a single news media outlet will say, well, we can make rain. There's drought. There's these conditions we're dealing with. And they say, oh no, global warming, fear, 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 fear. They never say what they said decades ago. In the 1970s, farmers seeded the clouds with minerals and nutrients like potassium. So not only do they know that they could see the clouds and get the rain, but they would rain like nutrients, potassium, like what have you, nitrogen, whatever they needed to come down, especially potassium. I read, but that is like a mind blower that it was that mainstream in the consciousness. And now it's been so swept under the rug that people just shake their heads and they're like, oh, the weather's unpredictable. No, the weather is controlled. Everyone needs to know it. And almost anyone can come to terms with this fact. It's not that like daunting of a fact. If the facts exist, it's very obvious when you do start to watch the sky and look into it. The information is there. And what's so amazing about this one is it's a gateway drug. It's a rabbit hole, but I call it a frequency, a vibration. I mean, many do. And what it is truth. And once you start to ride that frequency of truth, and you know that the weather's engineered and they lie about the chemtrails, whatever, mainstream is not telling the truth. Once you're on that vibration of truth, other truths can become more self-evident, and you can keep alive on that frequency and start to learn so much more and become an even better person. And like you told me how healthy you are and how healthy I am. And we, our lives might be a little stressful, but we're doing good work, and we don't ingest poison all day. And what we do intake is not this like upside down backward. I mean, even people that take on the media and then eat Doritos and drink beer and smoke cigarettes and all these sort of things, every single thing that they are in their intake, all of their intake is toxic, right? So once you start to really learn the truth, your life adjusts and you adjust, and your whole path is changed, your direction, your momentum, everything. And then you can be a better person and show by example and show up for others, and be an activist in your own way, in whatever shape and form it may be.
That's what I found is like there's so many people that have complained over the last few years. Let's say that they've lost their job, or they've lost their way, or they've lost their income, or they've lost even their physical location. And there's nothing but opportunity for picking up other jobs that are required. There's probably a whole bunch of vacancies in everything you mentioned, helping the world to a better place, sharing what's really going on, detoxing yourself, detoxing your mind, right? Your physical being and your consciousness, and moving to a better place. So, I'm delighted that you're out there leading the way, and we've known each other, off and on for at least 10 years now, I think. We were chatting even before you did Franken Skies, in Vancouver, a couple of years before that. And my heart at the time said, I was probably on the opposite side as well of commercial, handing out our newspaper. I can still remember handing it out to everyone before I realized what you realized. A lot of times they end up in the trash bin. So you got to be more potent with what you're getting out there. But once you reach, it's better to reach, 100 open hearts than 1,000 closed ones. Obviously, this is what I'm finding, because those 100 are probably 1,000 times more powerful than each closed heart. Because, once you're healthy and happy and strong and moving along, like yourself and myself, you seem tireless in what you want to get out. So that's, I guess, another positive aspect of doing what you love, is it really does give you a whole bunch of energy of all sorts.
Yes, I agree with you. I would also like to say that taking a closed heart and opening it is like a rising phoenix, because some of those people that have been in the dark their entire life now, and I've just felt like this like reassuring energy, like this is good actually. I kind of cultivate my gut instinct, and sometimes my gut will sink when I'm saying something stupid or something, and then the opposite occurs as well. And I feel good about the statement that everyone deserves the light. And some people, they rise out of their slumber like a phoenix that is, if you've been awake your whole life and it's just like a drag, and I come to you and I'm like, chemtrails, it's like, yeah, bro, I know. But other people that are open but don't realize they're open, they'll be like hitting the pavement, brother. And those are the kind of people like myself. I was at the age of 35 and thought I knew everything. I was so cocky. I graduated top of my class because I studied really hard and I knew finance and statistics and la ti da, and could whatever, crunch some numbers or do a really good spreadsheet. I'm really good at those spreadsheets. Sorry. So anyways, like Excel spreadsheets, that got me somewhere. I mean, whatever. Anyways, my point being is when I woke up, I was so upset that I'd been lied to my entire life. And that lit a fire under my ass, and it's still burning strong. And sometimes I get a little down and don't remember it, but then I get a reminder of what I'm fighting for. And it's like, I didn't grow up like, if someone had approached me 15 years ago, I would have laughed in their face. I would have been like, you're wearing a crystal around your neck and you think the horoscopes are real. And, I would have made fun of their conspiratorial mindset. But sometimes you just got to plant the seed the way you best know fit. And everybody, everywhere can do the work. So the people I'm speaking to, listeners or viewers, you're surrounded by your friends, your family, your peers, your coworkers, and all those people that you know them best, and you know how to meet them at their level to plant those seeds. And sometimes, like I was a punk ass kid, but what happened was my friend's older sister, he said, Matt, you're like overweight. I was so fat and unhealthy, and I had really bad heartburn. She was like, yeah, I used to have heartburn too. And I smoked cigarettes and drank a lot, whatever, it was a long time ago, but still, it was in my early 20s. She said, Matt, you ever read the ingredients when you eat food? I was like, why would I do that? She's like, well, I've got this motto: if I can't read it, I don't eat it. And she was really cute, Jasmine. I had a crush on her, kind of my friend's older sister. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So next time I went to the grocery store, I flipped it over and I was like, oh my God, they're all right there. The ingredients. Holy jeez, they're there. So it changed my direction in life slowly but surely. She was smart. She knew how to plant that seed. She wasn't going to sit me down and tell me about GMOs, because I would not have accepted that information. I would have actually had a negative backlash and probably never accepted the truth ever again if she had been over here telling me about chemtrails and stuff at that juncture in my life. But everyone, and I'm not saying that you weren't right in your statement. You're 100% accurate, and I'm trying to find my tribe as well. And there's both sides of it all. I am trying to find my tribe, but sometimes, like just the other day, last night, I was talking to this girl and I was like, yeah, and global warming's BS and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, what? She's so open-minded too. This Australian woman. And I'm like, you don't know? And I start talking to her about it. She's like, no, that's erosion. And I said, no, that's erosion. Sea levels aren't rising. They haven't risen. She was under the mindset that the sea levels had risen a whole bunch already. I was like, no. And she's like, really? Wow. And she had wide open eyes. She wrote down my movie. She's like, I'm going to go watch it, but she was not who you would typically. So I think that everyone deserves it, but also in their own time. And we're very young on our evolutionary timeline, and that's why it's being hijacked. So it's a whole spiritual battle. So that's something to be said too. So not everyone's really ready for it at all, but to each his own. And some people, they can play the role of just waking up or planting the seed with one person. You, my friend, you've got access with your magazine and all this stuff. By all means, please God, rally the troops, find our tribe. We need to start a freaking community offline, all these things. And I love you and appreciate you. I just wanted to interject that. And so I'm on both sides of the fence. It's an interesting journey. And also what you said about the how the world fell apart. I only had these little phone bags at first. And then when the lockdowns happened and 5G was coming out, my phone, not really my phone was ringing off the hook, my email and my Facebook, people were messaging me like crazy. Matt, do you have shirts? Matt, do you have shirts? I just had these phone bags and I came out with hats. I was like, no, I'm not going to come out with shirts. I don't want to risk it. Like you invest money in shirts and then the factories, like you got to make hundreds of them, and then people don't buy them and you go bust. You don't have a company anymore. You have to be careful when you're launching a company. But God, the universe, people are hounding me. Please make shirts. Please make shirts. 5G's here. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Like, let's just dive in. And then afterwards it was gloves and then baby blankets and then grounding mats and then socks and men's underwear and then more beanies. And then you name it. Now I've got gator headbands, sweatshirt, hoodies. The grounding mat, I just learned how to test it. It's amazing. There's so much dirty electricity around, right? When you put your fingers on it, it goes right in all that electricity goes the easiest way to the ground. It goes right out of you. The grounding mats are amazing. All of it is so cool. And then now people are walking, talking activists. They got some silver clothing on. Their friends like, what are you wearing that for? And they tell them about EMF radiation. And they're like, yeah, he sent me a DVD too. And it's just flowing. And not to be cocky, but I'm making a profit too. So I'm able to actually feed myself. I don't have to slave away and then pick away at activism. I'm able to be the low cost leader. I'm leading the industry in a niche that has about 20 companies. I'm leading the industry in affordability, comfort, style, functionality. Okay. A lot of these you can't even wear. You end up sweating like bullets after 10 minutes. Functionality, affordability, protectivity. Like I'm number one in every single slot that you can imagine. And I pride myself in saying that I'm the best EMF clothing. Sparrow is the best EMF protection clothing company on earth. And there's quite a few now. And we're growing. And all I had to do was believe and step up. And there's other opportunities right now coming into it. Oh, I even made a mesh face where you can see through it, but the 5G can't hit your face. And also the AI cameras can't tell who you are. So that's like a big thing, because I want to be the resistance when this happens. And you can be too. We need grocery stores, people. When the next wave of whatever happens, I'm not putting on a mask. I refuse. So please, God, have a grocery store for people like us. We also need schools. You know, the kids deserve the right way of upbringing and education and all these sort of things. There's a lot of things where we can step up to the plate, and everyone, you have the ability to do it. If you know how to knit for truth. You know, your skill set can be utilized for the common good. And I know, like 5-10 years ago, it's like, oh, I don't need to pick a side. I don't need to dive into activism. Guess what? The time is now. The world is on the verge of who knows what. I'm not trying to be Debbie Doomsday or Debbie Downer, but we're in the midst of something. And there is a spiritual battle where people are picking sides. And what do I mean by people are picking sides? Go to the grocery store. If someone's wearing 2 masks and they're not being told to, they've chosen a side. They've chosen fear. Obviously, you're not wearing the mask. You've chose love and hope. Okay. People are picking sides. It's a spiritual battle. I hate to be that person to be like, we're in a war zone. We're in a spiritual war zone. And it's up to us to honor the truth with integrity, to bring it forward for the next generation, for the children, you know? So you plant these seeds and start these companies, and we pass them on to the next generation and what have you. You can't pass them on like your idea that you're going to do something one day and get off the couch one day, you know? Like, if you just trust and start to build it, you can slowly segue out of your one career and into the career that serves humanity, because there's so much truth out there and so many people waking up and needing it, that they'll be there to give you the, I mean, if you offer it and they know that they're supporting the truth when they come to you, you will thrive if you show them the way, if you believe in yourself and do it, you know, for whatever it is, like chelation minerals or whatever it may be. There's so many opportunities, and I know you can find your niche. So believe in yourself, and thank you.
Yep, for sure. I totally find what you're saying super inspirational. You know, I lose faith every now and again because, you know, you talk to both sides and go, oh my goodness, maybe it's just time to run for the hills. But then I talk with someone like yourself and you're going, you know, if not me, who? You know, as they say, that old thing, you know, look in the mirror. And if you feel that your community sucks for one reason or 100 reasons, you know, don't sit around and point fingers and blame, you know, get off your ass and do something about it. You know, as Matt says, you know, grow some vegetables, open a store, start a daycare, start a nursery where, you know, you honor the children instead of, you know, scare them, you know, keep things flowing in a loving fashion. And it's not that difficult to see what's loving. I would say the difficult choice, I guess, is getting over whatever fears and are stopping you from helping make that a reality in your, you know, near life. And then that will spread out far, as Matt is proving in his actions and what he's doing, which is, you know, why I'm delighted to be here and supporting him and getting more of this information out. So Matt, tell me more, please, about the new movie, Franken Skies 2, Climate Change. You know, where are you with that? How is it developing, and where and when and how do you see that being exposed?
I would love to see the movie come out probably like next January, in less than a year. I've got a lot of good interviews and footage. And I mean, they're sticking their foot in their mouth almost every day with the weather engineering that they're pulling off. They're bending jet streams and smashing Texas with ice storms. There's so many different things, but people are waking up and there's all these amazing opportunities. I went to a reggae concert over the summer and I was passing out my Franken Skies, the movie flyers. And this group of kids came up to me. They were doing their own hustle. They were selling lemonade and bottled water and Coca-Cola. And as a group of cool, like middle school kids. And they're like, what do you have there? And I'm like, oh, just my movie, you know? And a couple kids came over really interested. What is it? What is it? And I'm like, oh, well, it's called Franken Skies. You know, the weather's engineered. This one kid comes over and he's like, that's not true. I'm like, okay, you know, well, would you watch the music? No, I don't need to watch the movie. He goes, I know what's true. They engineered the weather in Texas for that ice storm, but that's the only thing that they've ever done. And I was like, wow, coming from like a 12-year-old, he's so firm. And I was like, well, that's a start. You know, he's that age and he's telling me that. And I was like, okay. Then another kid came over to me out of the whole group. Only 2 kids approached me. The other one comes up and is like, can I get one of those? He's had these beautiful, bright eyes, you know, gave him the flyer and he goes, my parents told me Bill Gates is blocking the sun. And I was like, you got good parents, kid. And I was like, show him the flyer, would you? And he was like, yeah, I'll show him the flyer. Um, so my point is, people are waking up, and I want to do this montage at the very beginning. I'm working on this montage at the very beginning of the movie, Frankenskies 2, and or wherever it'll be in the movie. But it's a little montage of all these different people from all different walks of life, farmers markets all over the world, really, and this and that of them answer the question, how did you wake up to chemtrails? And everyone has their story. Surprisingly, everyone has a story that they want to tell. Oh, I saw this one day, or my friend told me, or I watched Franken Skies the movie. Some people say that. So there's that. And I'm taking a really human approach, trying to show the world with the movie that they're not alone, that they're not alone in the way that they think, and that they can rally together and find their tribe, that the tribe is their next door neighbor. They just have to open the conversation, have the heart to do so, and not be living in fear, because fear is a very powerful frequency and vibration. Also, I'm going to London. I know there will be protests in London. I've got this speech I'm writing about sovereignty that just lights up my heart and soul. And I will be giving a speech in London, anti 15-minute city speech in London at a protest. I don't even know when and where it is yet. And that's going to be in the movie as well. We're going to be protesting and stopping these 15-minute cities. So they're setting up the framework for them in Ipswich, which is a city outside of London, and also Oxford. Oxford is a city outside of London. And what they're doing to these 15-minute cities, basically, you can't do anything unless it takes you 15 minutes. Then they're going to give people passes, 100 passes in a year, so you can leave your 15-minute zone 100 times. But if you're a bad boy or girl and during social credit, you can get less, and maybe they'll make it less depending on greenhouse and whatever, but maybe you'll only get one. It depends on how they're doing. And then you have to apply for how many credits, and you can only do 15-minute things. And then they're creating the social credit system where if you take a shower once a day, you can rat out your neighbor, and then they can give you points. And if you take long showers, rat out the neighbor for taking a long shower, and then you get points. And so they're setting up this whole smart city social credit system dystopia with the 15-minute cities and the climate change, global warming, whatever you want to call it, BS. Like basically it's a lockdown in a sense, but you can leave your house, but you can't go far. And whatever you do, better take 15 minutes or you're bad for the world because of your carbon footprint. So they're doing this supposedly in Detroit. And so that's my home turf. So I'll have to go over there. They're doing these things all over Canada, which I hope I can still get into Canada. So I'd like to go and Canada's an interesting story in and of itself. But either way, we're going to be protesting these 15-minute cities because it plays right in line with climate change. It literally is climate change. And I came up with that title a long time ago, and now it's playing out just like the first one played out. Like I wanted to come out with the movie a long time ago, but all of this stuff, this juicy, disgusting material is coming out for humanity to fight, and we will, and we'll rally and we'll persevere. And it's going to be in the movie. The movie's going to be an amazing, inspiring thing because we're going to say no to these 15-minute cities. So that's in the movie.
You're inspiring me right now. Like, I've been,
Thanks.
you and I chatted about, we did print for 11, 12 years, the new Agora. Been looking to go back with the new now. I'm wondering how to do that. I've been wondering where to do that. I'm wondering with who to do that. And even more importantly, I've been wondering why I should do that. Right. And you've just given me into my heart, just chatting with you now, 12 different reasons why we should do that. And even perhaps on the masthead, because we don't want it the new Agora anymore, because sometimes an Agora brings in less than loving energy, because an Agora is just everyone together doing everything. But a new way to do things, right? A new civilization. I'm considering even as on the masthead now, print on purpose, right? To talk about the purpose of being alive. So, whatever you're doing, I love being metaphysical and meta, beyond. And even this conversation or this chat is helping me to see more and higher in what I want to do and what we want to do. So, you were proving, two men sitting here having a chat in different parts of the world that, together you can inspire the next fellow and the next person to higher, better, and more beautiful things.
I love you. I'm in Ashland, Oregon, and you're in Japan, and it's very real. And we do need all of this. The AI and the censorship and all of this stuff is getting so rampant. I started to realize that the more DVDs I can get in people's living room, and the more magazines or newspapers that you can get in people's living room, the more that we're going to be able to do this. Have you seen the movie Cloud Atlas or read the book?
I have read the book.
So in the movie Cloud Atlas, there's a dystopian future where humanity has gone a bad direction, but there is a Korean waitress robot, and she finds this little thumb drive thing. It's a physical thing. She finds a physical thing, and all she sees is a little clip of a Tom Hanks reenactment of a real life story from like the 90s of this guy saying no and fighting his way out of an old folks home. So it's a real life experience, a real life story that was reenacted because someone was so inspired that they reenacted it. And then in the dystopian future, brother, this robot is seeing this inspiring thing, and it strikes a chord in her heart, her robot heart. And then she leads a revolution for humanity, and consciousness is saved, even though it was like got so bad that it was dystopian reality. But the heart opening happened in a robot because of people like us, man, that put that physical thing into the world for people to see. Because the censorship can censor all they want, but they can't censor us. You know what I mean?
They can't censor. That's what I love about print, is once it's there, it's there. No one can change it. You put out a DVD, no one can alter it. They can either watch it or not, or throw it away or not, or lie about it or not. But whatever it is, and it stays that way. And then you get a chance to leave something real behind, and move it to the forefront.
Yeah, and then sometimes when people see the movie, it's like in their head, and you can't take that away, right? They've seen it.
Yeah,
it's not going anywhere. I met this homeless kid the other day. It was so something, Lorenzo. He and I, this homeless kid, just start chatting, and we're talking about the world at large. And I ask him, just out of curiosity, does he know about chemtrails? And he got such this fire in his eyes, and he started telling me about me. And he said Franken Skies got pulled from the internet. You can't even find it anymore. But the movie was so good and inspiring for him. And he said, I swear, he said Matt Landman is a pirate. This guy. In his eyes, I'm a pirate, right? And I think what it was is I had this big beard, and I might have handed him a flyer like a decade ago, is what I ended up putting together in my head. But the guy was so impassioned and so like excited to tell me about it that just like I just was frozen. I didn't have the heart to tell him, that it was me, that I am who he was talking about, But I realized the universe, it works in this like magical way, brother. Like you wouldn't believe it. Like the message was for me at the time. Like I wasn't really feeling like I was doing anything, like you do a lot all the time. And then you're just like, they're still spraying like, what, Trump's going to win another election? Like what is going to happen? What, like, have I done anything with all that I've done? Have I done anything? And then the universe is like, yes, man, you have. And the universe will like show you that you have. And maybe it's subtle, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a red-tailed hawk, But these signs, I've been reading a lot of Rudolf Steiner. He talks about sign language, but then he says it's not like sign language, like with the hands, but it's signs, it's synchronicities in the universe. You got to follow the signs. It's real stuff. You have to trust it and follow it with your heart, not your logical mind. But it's very real. And if you believe in what you're doing and do it with righteous, I mean, everyone has an ego, so there's always egoic attachment, but do it as righteous as you can for others. It's going to work out and it's going to flow. And really what you're doing is allowing spirit to take over. You put up a sign or a graffiti or a poster or a movie, whatever it is. Now it's in the hands of spirit to guide others to see it, And there's so many beautiful things that I've come across. Someone in some random UK village came across a sticker that said, "Watch Franken Skies, global warming is bullocks." Something like that. And he was like, "Matt, have you been in my town?" And he took the photo and sent it to me on Facebook. And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Well, this wasn't me." And of course I cried because I'm like an emotional being. And it's like, and sometimes I need stuff like that, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I am reaching people. Wow, I'm there. It's actually working. Even when I made the movie, I'm like, how am I going to get this out there? How is it? It's like such an uphill battle, but it's really not, because God is in your hands. And when you're doing righteous stuff, there's such an imbalance in this world. Like imagine this, there's such an imbalance in this world that any bit of good that you do, it exponentially multiplies because everyone's trying to help and share your stuff. And it's like, if you do something bad, you can just throw it into the mix with all the other bad stuff. It's not going to go anywhere, but the good snowballs and lights. And there's like that saying that a sliver of light can light up the whole cathedral. It's like that. We just need that sliver of light to be you all, or even light the match under someone else's butt. But it's all very real, and we can all play our part. And honestly, you, dude, you, my friend, when I moved to Vancouver, someone showed me your magazine, and I was like, someone's talking about chemtrails in a magazine. They're not scared. And that inspired me to not be scared to make my movie because, dude, I didn't want to lose all my friends talking about chemtrails. I didn't want to be this guy. But now I love that I did what I did and I am who I am. But at the time, it was very scary and daunting because I knew I was going to lose everything. And I did. Even my mom thinks I'm not really on the.
I know that. I so many people told us, you can't do that. You can't print this. You can't share that. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. You can. And I'm going, 12 years later, here I am. We did this, we shared this, we did that, we went out and out. And the funny thing is you just reminded me, is just a couple of weeks ago, I put an article up on our website, we need more pirates. That was so funny because I came across it, says, that they've got a bad rap. These are the guys that fight the government. These are the guys that go against, what they say the rules are. These are the guys that say, to that you can or can't do this, or you should or shouldn't sell this, and where you go that. So it's pretty funny that you were equated to a pirate. And I put up that article. Yeah, man, we need more pirates. They've got a bad rap. And so I'm going to share this article and get it out. And then I'm meeting fellow pirates. And I know people that want to be pirates. And who doesn't love a good pirate, right? And so, overall, I guess now that we're saying kudos to you as well for what you're sharing. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to get this out and share it around and to let more people see what you've done and what you're doing and what we're doing and what we're going to do together and what you're going to do with other people, what we're going to do with other people. And, let the love grow.
Yes, I love that. And I concur 100%. And even when things seem like that they're not going to work out, like I had a conference once and I had about 10 people in the crowd, and that lit a fire under me. And I was really passionate about the speech that I gave at the conference. It was in Portland, Oregon. And I gave the speech to like 12 people about chemtrails and geoengineering and sovereignty and our ancestors, and what the right thing to do would be to fight for our right to survive and all this sort of stuff. Little did I know at the time that presentation went viral. I mean, it was seen by hundreds of millions of people. And that is not even a misstatement. I've seen it on other channels with like 100 million views. It got so many views that all I had to do was put it in the hands of spirit. You know what I mean? And people turn it around and make it like a different frame rate, and they change the title, and the censorship is right now we're getting past it. And then eventually it's going to be on someone's freaking VHS or DVD or thumb drive or whatever, or in their consciousness. They're telling this story. We just have to believe in ourselves. And I mean, the last thing you said about everything, I want to just be like, let's end it on that note. It's such a beautiful thing to say. So I kind of am just a little awestruck and want to say that what you said was just enough, and we can move forward and talk more about my clothing line and new releases.
Oh yeah.
And all that sort of stuff in the future. I'm doing really cool proof of concept, like videos with like an EMF meter and a cell tower and my beanie. And then I put the EMF meter in the beanie, and then it goes to zero. It shows like, don't you want to be in here and not out here with this environment of the cell towers and stuff like that? So it does work really well. And it's a whole new concept, and it's going to be an exciting journey. And I can't wait to work more with you, and maybe even find the abundance to sponsor your magazine or half of it or front back page or something like that, because as the things seem to like pick up, the opportunities are really endless. God has a plan, and I don't doubt that we're going to be able to lead the way in so many ways that I can't even fathom it. I mean, I plan on starting a community, permaculture, all this sort of stuff, and like leading by example and showing the people that don't need smart tech, smartphones, smart cities, nothing, that the real way is humanity.
I've never had a cell phone, not for 10 years anyways, and I don't plan on having one. Yeah. I just let the world tell me when it's time to talk to someone, and it just kind of happens, and I meet them, or they Zoom me, or we chat in an email like you and I connected, or however it works. But I trust that, the universe is going to put me in touch however I need to be put in touch with people. And that's my smartphone, the spirit's my smartphone, and I let that grow. Yeah.
I had a 3G phone, and on January 1st, they said, we're the last 3G service in North America, or in the United States at least. and we're turning you off on January 1st. And they did. January 1st, my 3G like slider old flip phone thing, it got turned off, and that's it. I'm done too. So I don't have a cell phone either.
Yeah. So the beauty in all this is we've wanted to go back to print. This year was my goal. Now, the fact that you want to launch, your Frankensteins Climate Change 2 this January, I'd love to launch print coming this year as well. So I'm going to put it out there to all the viewers that you have, and to you and me and everyone else. Let's get this done together. I can put all my efforts in. Matt can put all his efforts in. That's still only two of us. 100 more is going to make it 100 times easier. And as Matt says, a little love goes a long way these days. And for that and more, I am grateful that we've gotten a chance to meet through some challenges, and I love you for reaching out to me again, and I'm happy to reach back out to you, and I appreciate everything you're doing. And man, my heart feels nice now. So what else is there really?
That's beautiful. And I can share this on my platforms. And what's the website?
newagora.ca is our virtual magazine. The New Now YouTube channel, everything will be out under here. I'll send you all the links once we get off, and please send me all of yours, and I'll put them under this as well. And together, this will be perhaps the first in a series of interviews and chats we can do. Matt's going to have his own, let's say, hub page with us coming up very soon. We're going to park all the new beautiful things he's doing, and then together with him, with us, with everyone else, get off your butt. Small butt, big butt, doesn't matter. Take those butts, throw them in the garbage. Help us as we help you, and we'll help you as you help more. And together, the sky's literally the limit, and we'll keep them clean so we can fly to our dreams.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Looking forward to more collaborations. And I have actualactivists.com and SPERO, sparrowgear.com, and Sparrow Gear on Instagram. And thank you for all the listeners.
Yeah,
and
all the links will be below.
Really get out there. Yeah,
all the links will be below for everything Matt does. We'll get it out to you, and I appreciate this. Yeah, that's what they do here in Japan as well. I've even got a little sticker on my computer of a fellow doing that. So thank you so much, Matt. I'll be back, and we'll be back, and we'll see you all again very soon. Love you all.